Welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pong ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pong Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hey guys, welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cox. We're back in the hosting chair for this week. Episode 535 is now in your ears. Thank you for Moon for stepping up and hosting last Wednesday with Punch and Beaver, who hopefully will both be back around on Wednesday. But for this Monday episode, I have Bears and Vrail with me. Say hello.
Hello.
What's up, boys?
Bears did not send me his address until today, so he's still going to sound like a tin can. Thank you, Bears. Way to go. Way to ruin everything and make us all hate you.
I'm glad I could be of assistance.
All right, well, I have some things to hit. Of course, we always have BuddhaBoxers.com/TForce. Use code TrinityForce for 20% off your order. They're premium, high-quality, inexpensive boxers. Blah. They're made from bamboo to help wick away the sweat, which leaves you feeling fresh. Compared to other brands, none of them will keep you as comfy as Buddha Boxers will. Again, BuddhaBoxers.com/TForce. Use code TrinityForce for 20% off your order. They're awesome, guys. Go out there and order them. Patreon.com/TForce Network. You can get the Meta Report podcast for $5 a month. Vrail is on that one. Beaver is also hosting, or he is the host of that show, and they should be recording that within a week and a half or so. You guys are planning on that?
We're doing a top lane special. So we're having multiple guests on, so we're having a little trouble getting everyone's schedules lined up, but it should be in the next week or so, I think.
Cool. As long as it's out before the end of the month, no one cares. Champion Select Podcast for $10 a month. Those are coming out for you. I'm looking forward. I'm still looking for Talon and Trundle to get out for this month for you guys. I'm trying to throw 2 out. Because I've been slacking quite a bit on that. It's unfortunate, but I'm going to get them out there for you guys. If I can't find Trundle, I don't know who else to do. I'm just going to keep going down the list until I find someone to bite. I did have somebody reply to me last week and say that he's a silver something Draven main and that he's a very nice guy, and not all Draven mains are assholes. So thank you for emailing me and letting me know that. I do appreciate it. I still am going to hold by the fact that I believe that all Draven mains are assholes.
Lying is bad.
That makes you an asshole.
We'll say most Draven mains have a tendency to be assholes. Let's do a more political way of saying it.
Yeah, there's just something about them, right? There's something there. So, for tonight's episode, I have a whole list of topics from breaking bad habits, talking yourself through the game. We won't talk about invading because I want to save that for Beaver, level 2 power spikes and whatnot. But I do, before we get into like my list of topics, we had a discussion going pre-podcast, and I want to try to recapture that now. But we were talking a little bit about Lux and mid lane, because I was saying that as of right now, I've been playing a lot of mid lane because my duo partner is a jungler, so I've been trying to capitalize on that. However, anytime that I'm playing mid lane, even though I try to take my advice of push and roam, I always find it really hard to push, and it's likely the champions that I'm playing. It's starting to make me kind of reconsider, like, do I go to play assassins now? Basically, I'm just trying to like force my way into like plat, I don't know, 3, and then go back to my main role. But until that point, I'm just having trouble doing that. So I'm playing Lux right now, and the conversation we were having was about the changes to Lux, and I want to say that she actually feels really, really good right now, and I think she's in a, pretty excellent spot, all things considered. And I don't know, Vrail was talking about it a bit. The 7% increased attack speed, we had talked about how much that was going to help, and we're actually to the point where you don't feel like you're rushed to try to kill the back line because your attack speed actually feels really nice to use.
Yeah, it just sounds like such a small number, but if you've been playing a lot of Lux before the changes and then you go into a game now, it just feels so much smoother. Like, her combo's easier, last hitting's easier. It's just it's an incredible quality of life buff, and the numbers buffs just make her, I think, really good, as you were saying.
It's really easy right now. I forget how long the range is on E. Right, even playing with her, I always figured the range on E is a lot smaller than it is, but it's basically half the lane that you can throw an E down at any point. So landing comment is really simple.
Yeah, I think it's still really good, and they didn't make it so small that you can't hit the back line and the front line. when you're clearing waves, which I think that's pretty good. But when you're saying that you're struggling roaming with Lux, when I play Lux, I rarely roam with her. I think it's all about having mid lane. You just want to have enough pressure pushing your lane that your enemy can't roam. At least that's what my mentality is when I'm playing her. And if they do roam, they're going to miss a wave. And then if you have a safe avenue to follow, maybe you go down after you push it. But I never try and initiate roams with Lux unless I have like a really obvious opportunity to do so.
Sure. So that leads me to the question is, if I'm struggling with trying to roam and trying to figure out how to roam, instead, should I be playing an assassin type champion? Because Talon kind of like screams to me right now as a champion that would probably be really, really good to force my way back up through platinum, because you don't see him a lot, and I believe with the reworked items coming out that assassins are going to be pretty good. So I'm wondering if starting to practice assassins right now is the way to go.
I mean, it depends on how you want to play the game. Rarely are you going to find someone who's like, yeah, I am like a two-trick who plays Talon and Lux. Like, they're so different in style. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to go and you really want to like grab the game by the balls and just roam around everywhere and try and still play a mage, then probably Aurelion Sol or TF is the way to go. But if you want to just like roam around and you don't really care, Talon is incredibly good at roaming and influencing other lanes just with his, I think it's his W passive. Or
his E, where he can jump over walls.
E, there we go.
Yeah. I was looking at Aurelion Sol, but it's kind of like Draven, where you have to be in the correct position, and I'm really bad about doing that instead of being able to just throw spells and auto attack. But something I did notice I've been trying to play more recently than I have in the past. Thankfully, time is helpful with that. I've just been playing super late at night, so I haven't been able to play with any of you guys. But something that I've been noticing and that we've preached a lot is that, instead of trying to get the kill, pushing out for towers and objectives and taking Rift-Tailed really early is actually snowballing games really, really hard at this point. And it may just be where the meta's at, but like if you can push your laner under tower and roam top and help take the top tower, or just take Rift-Herald, you can start winning games by 20, 24 minutes, because that snowballing effect of all that extra gold that's going to your team, plus the, alleviant of pressure, or the extra pressure on the enemy team, I should say, you're alleviating pressure on yourself by removing that tower up top, is super helpful. I don't believe we're at the point where we have to take down mid tower anymore. Like, taking those side towers and pushing out those side lanes is just as effective at this point in the game.
Yeah, I agree. I actually played a game earlier on my alternate account where I was Vel'Koz into an Aurelion Sol, and he just wanted to roam nonstop. He didn't care about his lane. So I ended up taking his turret at like 8 minutes, and I had, like, at the 12-minute mark, I had like 100 CS, and he had like 30. And he had got a couple kills, but he had no turret, so he was like in a huge hole. So, I mean, taking early turrets is always good, and if you roam incorrectly, then it's going to get punished, or it should get punished anyway. That's another avenue of winning, is just, you don't have to follow. You can just push the wave and take the turret. Especially top, if somebody TPs away and you're debating if you want to follow, or maybe you can go and get half of this turret's HP and they make them miss waves, then you have to consider that kind of stuff.
Yeah, taking a couple cannon minions and whatnot, it's still just as effective right now with getting that extra gold in your pocket as to have kills. I don't know how many games that I've played recently where I've seen people roam around and get kills, but I'm still even with them because either my CS is just as good or I'm picking up assists by roaming around. Like, when I play Lux, honestly, I feel more like an assist bot than I do an actual kill bot because of, rooting people, throwing shields, etc.
You're just not doing it right. Get a Medjai's, right. And then once you get one kill,
early.
You get like 7 kills right after that, and you're unstoppable.
Maybe that's my problem. Maybe my problem is I'm not building Medjai's, and I'm just going straight into a lost chapter.
I would for sure get a Dark Seal, at least at some point, and then if you start to snowball, maybe upgrade it. I think Medjai's is really good on her. Not in every situation, like obviously not like it shouldn't be a first item, but if you start to get ahead and you have the extra gold, I think Lux is one character who can really stack it pretty easily, which I think I've said before on the show.
Sure. You know what's funny about that is I kind of feel like that puts a giant like hunter's mark on your head or a big target on your head when you pick up Dark Seal. People see that and they just want to start camping the ever-living shit out of you.
Yeah, and Dark Seal's actually worse now just because Double Dorans is better because there's no unique passives on it now. So stacking them is actually kind of coming back into the meta.
I was going to point that out. Sorry to interrupt, but the Double Dorans, I've been doing Double Dorans recently, early back into a second Dorans coming, after you push it, and I feel like the extra mana regen you get is super helpful.
Yeah, I've been like you can back at the regular 800 or 900 and get a Doran's and a Amplifying Tome, and you feel pretty strong and you don't run out of mana super quickly. So I've been seeing a lot of double Dorans. So yeah, you should try that out if you find yourself really struggling to either get to Lost Chapter or you're running out of mana in lane. That's a good avenue for you to try and sustain yourself through the early laning phase.
And it does really help, like for those out there that may not think it does because you're not getting the extra on kill. I played into his Ziggs last night as Vagar, and I was actually able to keep up with him on wave clear because of the extra regen from the Doran's rings. Plus, if my jungler came and ganked, I always had my gate ready at least, even if I was almost out of mana, because I was getting so much over time.
Yeah, I think a trap people fall in with Vagar is that they want to last hit everything with Q, but that's not always realistic.
No.
So you have to be able to use your W to clear at some point, or you're just going to get shoved under turret and then miss the CS anyway.
I'm constantly trying to line my Qs up to hit the enemy. Like, you know how it goes through the first champion it kills? I'm constantly trying to... I mean, because if you hit somebody, like you say, you hit somebody, you gain 1 ability power. So I'm constantly trying to harass through my Qs and clearing back wave with W.
100%.
Now, Bears, I don't know about you. We were talking about that conversation about roaming. I know you talk about roaming a lot. How do you feel about, helping out and taking those extra towers in these games? Do you feel like it's helping snowball at all?
Yeah, I feel like when y'all talk about mid lane roaming, because I feel like that's pretty much the meta right now is mid lane shoves and roams bot with jungler, and you 4-man bot and try to get bot lane snowballing since the AD carry and support right now are so strong. So like even if you only get 1 kill and you fall behind in CS, getting your bot lane ahead, getting that turret, I feel like I've won so many games where maybe we were losing bot lane or bot lane was super even, but you get that roam down, you get that first turret, and now their bot lane can't do anything against you for the rest of the game because you just got so much gold for first turret, for 2 kills, and like that's the game just snowballs so hard. If you have like a Draven, a Xayah, maybe not like a Sivir, but just getting the game to that point where if your mid lane roams down, you just hit the gas and you never stop. And like top laners TPing down is amazing when you actually get one that'll do it. So
I do want to say that hubris is a bitch, because I see a lot of games where people will get those leads but they won't continue to press them, and that's when that's when you leave yourself open, and that's why forfeiting early is really not the ideal way to go about playing this game, because even if you've lost a couple turrets or the game is 10-4 in total kills, it's really easy to turn it around and go back. It's just you have to continue to play to your strengths, and you have to kind of, if you're playing any champion, mid, jungle, whatever it is, you have to be the guiding light, right? Even supports can do that as well. They can leave their AD carry alone in bottom lane and after a turret's fallen, and just help other people get more turrets and more objectives, because at a point you just kind of have to leave it alone.
Yeah, that's actually the last game I played, my AD carry asked if I was auto-filled because I was literally never in lane. I mean, sometimes it's just the play, like depending on your matchups, depending on how the rest of the map's going, if their jungler's camping mid, then you help camp mid, tell your AD carry to farm. Like, it's just, I mean, it all depends on the game, but sometimes you just gotta roam. Sometimes you need to stay in lane. Sometimes you just literally are never in lane. It kind of depends on the situation, though.
I really do feel like that we're at the point where supports almost shouldn't be in lane at all, and they should be constantly roaming. I wish I had more at the end of the game to give somebody than just honor, because I had a support Vel'Koz who would just leave his AD carry alone and kept coming mid and helping me kill the mid laner and taking a tower. And granted, he didn't really go past mid lane, but he was constantly in the enemy jungle. He was constantly harassing. Granted, he gotten a kill early, so he was ahead and able to snowball that pressure. But that's where this comes from. If you get that, you can get that early kill, or you can get that early extra gold by forcing somebody to miss a couple waves. Moving out of your lane and making your marksman do his own thing is more impactful in the game than you standing down there and doing nothing.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Especially, I mean, there are some champs, like maybe roaming with Lulu's not super useful, but I mean, there's some champs
you can roam and get wards down. Like, there's still ways you can roam.
Yeah, you can go more deep vision rather than ganking a lane.
I think if you're a support, you should, like, after your first back, you should probably try and roam mid. Like, that should just kind of be a standard thing. at least like start to path up through the jungle, so you have the option if you see something going down.
Yeah, pretty much when you're coming back after your first buy, I'm pretty much everybody should be going like to that buff, or like when you walk, you should be walking towards the buff in case something happens at drag or at mid, or if there's like play to be made. You shouldn't just walk straight into lane since you're so far away from the map.
I don't know. I haven't played down in silver and bronze where, likely the majority of our listeners are there, and so I don't know what it's like exactly, but I can assume based on some of the games that I've played, and I understand that the argument here is if I leave my AD carry, he's going to bitch and then he's going to cry and whatnot. But honestly, if you're impacting the map so heavily as a support or any other character that you not being in lane is forcing other objectives, you are doing more than you would previously do by being down there and babysitting the one guy who you are banking on carrying. And the only way he's going to carry is if his teammates helps him carry, right? Because no AD carry, unless they are like 11-0, is going to walk into a fight in 3v1.
Yeah.
Well, I think you should just communicate that you're going somewhere else and that they should play safe, because then it's on them. Because if you tell them where you're going, they might not agree with it, but at least they're not like, well, why the hell are you top? You're like, well,
yeah,
I told you. So I think communicating can alleviate a lot of the friction between teammates, or at least help alleviate it.
And there are some times where honestly you can't roam. If you're against Alistar Kai'Sa, you honestly just can't, because even if your AD carry tries to farm under turret, they're just going to die. Mm-hmm. So you do have to pay attention. Like, even if you're playing Bard or Blitzcrank, and there's nothing you can do against a Kai'Sa Alistar lane, you kind of just got to tough it out, let your AD carry farm, and try to make plays together at like 6 or 9 or something when you get Mobies. Because if you leave them alone, they're just going to die, and that is kind of your fault.
But on the other hand, if you're playing into a Kai'Sa Alistar that are, 1 kill, 1 assist, right? They already got a kill early because you guys fucked up somewhere. Leaving your marksman alone is probably the better play than sitting down there and trying to protect him, because as a Blitzcrank or, whatever it may be, you're not necessarily going to do anything if they dive. You have a hook and a knock-up, right? And you can only do that on one person, especially if an Alistar is coming in. Like, there comes a point where you both just kind of got to give it up. If you're not going even or you're not ahead, you just kind of have to cut your losses and hope that the dude dies only once and that you're able to impact that somewhere else in the map. We talk a lot about gauging the situation and trying to have a better understanding of why you're doing, why are you making the play that you're making, and you don't have time to type it out and justify it to your teammate. You just have to show it through numbers and through the impact you're having on the map.
Yeah, and if you're making the right play more often, like even if your AD carry that game bitches, at least you know you're doing the right thing, and that'll help you climb. You don't have to win every game to climb. You just have to win more often than you lose. So as long as you're getting better, it doesn't matter if you lose the occasional game because your AD carry is a Draven and they cry. Happens.
Dravens never cry. They just leave the game.
Sorry, Flame, yeah.
No, I played with a Draven the other day who was it was Draven Blitzcrank on my team, and it was Caitlyn Nami. And what he said was, we have to push the Caitlyn under turret and keep her under turret so she can't farm. And I don't have time to type and argue with the guy. Granted, I'm not playing Blitzcrank, but I was playing another lane. But I'm just like, you are playing this incredibly incorrectly. And I wish I had a way to sit you down and teach you that you pushing her under turret isn't doing Draven things.
Yeah, like theoretically, if you could get Caitlyn under turret, that's good because she wants to control the lane. But good luck as Draven out pushing a Caitlyn Nami. You're probably just going to get poked and have to try to find a fight wherever you can.
Right. Well, I think this match they let him push them under tower because she was farming so well under it. Like they were doing well together, and then the jungler just kept coming down there.
Yeah, and then you're just dead.
Right. So, if you can play it to that way where your jungler has an understanding that this person's being really stupid, sure, you can make that work.
Yeah. I actually played like that exact same game earlier today where I was playing we were Xayah Rakan, and they were Draven Tahm Kench, and they literally would just shove us in, then our Elise would walk down and we'd kill them. And I mean, you just have to get wards or play smart. One of the two. Either ward or play smart.
Ideally, some of both.
Yeah. Just because you war doesn't mean you have to turn your brain off, but you can generally tell where the jungler is based on where they start. Like, if they start bot side, bot leash, 3 minutes in, they're at top. They're not going to be bot. You can push. But then, like, 4 minutes, you should start backing up.
Yeah. I wish I could shake every jungler out there, because when there's a scenario like that where you're getting pressed under the tower, it's best to be on the bottom side of the map, or even show your presence down there a couple times to force them to back off, to give your, so that you have some breathing room as an AD carry marksman. But I see so many junglers that just go in this herbivore mode where they just decide they want to farm. They're constantly taking krugs, and they're not yanking enough to make their presence known or make people scared, and that is leading to losses. Like, if you want to be a better jungler, and this is where I'm going to kind of cut the conversation here because I need Beaver here to talk about it more, but if you want to be a better jungler, you have to take note of those situations of what I can be doing or where I can be. You don't necessarily have to be ganking. You just have to have your presence be known to help alleviate pressure for your lanes. And
yeah, I mean, if you are hard farming and you see a gank happen, you can just go to the opposite side of the map and just take their camps, and that is getting back some of what you lost to the gank.
Yes, more objectives. Even mini objectives are objectives.
Get that scuttle crap.
Especially after the patch that's coming up next, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's
they are.
this patch and the next patch.
It's this next patch, because 6.11 is going to be the marksman patch. Which, humorously, for those out there that we talked about the marksman patch a little bit, and I don't know if we necessarily can have a conversation off this, but I had an interesting thought that I think with this marksman patch that they're trying to cut the reliability on crit. They're trying to cut the reliability on the default of iEdge by obviously changing how easily obtainable crit is, or crit modifiers are. And with those changes, I think it actually starts to open bot lane in the future to other dragon controllers, not necessarily just Mordekaiser, but other lanes outside of the marksman lane, because now marksmen aren't going to come online as quickly as they previously did, or it's not going to be as much of a stalemate as it was. So I'm curious if kind of the kill lane style pressure starts coming back bot because of these changes.
The only reason I could see it happening is if, like, especially this next patch, tanks are not going to be meta at all. It's pretty much going to be assassins, bruisers, maybe out of the jungle. But if tanks aren't meta, you don't necessarily need an 80 carry, so it could happen.
I think it's going to take a little bit, but I think it's going to either devolve into kind of those lethality ADCs or back to the on-hit, like Varus, Kog'Maw.
We're going to see...
unless we're missing something, because it for sure seems like crit is going to be a lot weaker.
I don't think it's going to be lethality replacing it, though. I think it's going to be that.
Well, I mean, like MF, Draven, or Jhin, who don't have to build crit.
Yeah. It'll be like casters. You're going to see a lot of Lucian.
Yep.
He looks so strong.
Yeah, we're going back to two seasons ago, essentially, without lethality.
I hate Lucian metas. I hate Lucian.
Yeah, you and me both. That's kind of why I'm also leaning toward, mages are cool, Lux is cool, but maybe I should actually be playing J4 mid.
Yeah, I've been trying, if assassins are actually going to be what's super meta, I'm trying to think what I can play to counter them. So I've tried Jax mid, and I've tried Darius mid, just because I'm not very good at assassins themselves. So I'm thinking what I could possibly play into an assassin.
Morgana's really good into assassins.
Morgana, yeah.
Yeah, but I really like Jax and I like Darius. So if I have an opportunity to play the mid, then
until that happens, a good cheese right now is Scion with the siege cannon rush. The fuck is it called? Banner command rush.
Yeah. Also Karma with Banner.
Build.
Yeah, it's both.
I think Karma right now, what you go normally is Luden's Banner,
Ardent,
yeah, and then more AP.
Yeah.
Wait, Scion mid with Ardent? Or are you
it's Karma.
Yeah. No, Scion goes Banner into full tank.
Right. Yeah, Scion mid's really good, and something that maybe you should pick up, Rail. Maybe that's your next champion to add to the pool.
No, I don't think so. I played against that. That shit is so annoying, but I don't think that's my cup of tea. I want to kill too many people to play that.
You can kill them all. You just have to knock them up.
No, you
shred
don't.
Their armor with
you
E.
Stand there and just take damage. That's not fun.
You can be the next BDD. His Scion mid is so good.
I'd have to go lethality Scion. One hit
Oh
people
god,
with my
please
ultimate.
no.
One hit people after you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
You ult in, die, and then kill someone. Just trade 1 for 1 every time.
See, y'all are catching on.
I get it now. I understand your train of thought. Well, shit. I'm gonna keep playing around. I still got a little bit. I don't know why, but Talon just keeps calling to me, man. I just kind of feel like that's the champion. But
Talon is my favorite assassin because I feel like he is the least mechanically difficult of them. Pretty straightforward.
Smash your head on the keyboard. Hope you kill them.
Yeah, it's just I think it's mostly just timing it his ult with when they come out and your passive. That's really all you have to play around.
well, we can talk about level 2 power spikes. We've talked about them previously, but Talon's a really good one right there with the level 2 power spike through his WQ.
I feel like every game with Talon, everyone's like, Talon's responsible of whatever massive percentage of first bloods in game.
61%, isn't it? It's really high.
I'm not gonna say what number it is, but I know it's a big number. In comparison to other people's, that 61% seems aggressive, but
First
I want to say
stats behind the
20
slaughter.
something, but I'm not gonna swear by it.
25%.
Yeah.
It's 25% of the ranked games he plays in. Talon notches the first takedown.
You have to be aware. Like some matchups, this doesn't matter as much. Like I feel like mage versus mage, you're probably not gonna die if you misplay a level 2 power spike. But I remember I was playing with Dom once, and we were just like on autopilot. We were bot lane, and we were like, "Oh, they're fighting us." And we're like, "Oh shit, they hit level 2," and we both died because we just weren't paying attention. We were on autopilot. We were just farming, and then they hit. I think it was like a Thresh something, and Thresh has a really big level 2 power spike, and they just all into us, and we weren't paying attention. We had our thumbs up our ass, and then they just killed us, and the game went downhill from there.
I don't know how many times I've screamed hell, I think it was 6 podcasts ago I had a conversation about this where like supports and bears can talk about this. Support should be helping your AD carry get to that level 2.
Yeah, so the level 2 power spike in bot lane, it literally does not matter what your champion is. Whatever champion you play, you shove the wave, the first wave. The second wave, you kill the 3 melees as fast as possible because when you hit level 2, you have 1,000 gold worth of stats over them. And you have an extra ability. It doesn't matter if you're freaking like Sona Sivir against Bard Blitz, or not Bard, Draven Blitz. Doesn't matter. All in them. Just fight them. Like, I mean, you need to watch out. If they have 1 melee minion left and they're about to hit level 2, you do need to watch for that because I've definitely lost level 2 all-ins where they hit level 2 as you all in, and that sucks. But your level 2 power spike is for any. I mean, there are some champions that abuse it. Thresh abuses it. Blitz abuses it. Lucian abuses it. Draven abuses it. Rakan abuses it. But pretty much any champion, if you hit level 2 first, shove, and then just fight. They're not going to beat you unless you play it terribly.
I agree. I think bot and top probably have the most important level 2s, where you have to be the most wary of it.
Yeah, because you're so much closer fighting. Like mid about the level 2 is really who can zone who off the wave and who. Because if you get level 2 before the end of mid laner, you can try to all in them, but it's going to be harder to kill them unless you're obviously
like
Talon.
Yeah,
just from their tower.
Right. But you can always just zone them off the wave at that point and keep the wave where you want it. That's the part where we talk about zoning is, standing there in front of the wave or whatever it may be. And force the person not to be able to get CS or experience.
I feel like if I misplay level 2, it normally results in me missing 2 or 3 CS. That's kind of... I rarely die level 2. I'm more of like a level 3, level 4 kind of guy.
Yeah. There was a post on our summoner school about a week ago where somebody posted, it was from Inven, it was Koreans talking about the level 1 or the first 4 waves or 5 waves of mid lane, and it could be summed up to basically says the game is, you can determine how the game is going to go within the first 4 or 5 waves of mid lane based on how you play it, like who's going to win that lane, who's going to have dominance. And it was essentially it was shove and let it reset and then try to kill them and then ward to see where they're walking, right? Like it was silly, but that was the whole point, was like if you lose that level 2 power spike because you're not paying attention and you're not pushing just as hard as the enemy's pushing, you lose the lane.
I don't know if it's that drastic, but it can influence how the next little bit of the game goes. One problem people have is they're non-committal to their push, and then they just leave their wave in like a terrible spot to. You're just waiting to get ganked.
Also,
That's a big one. Where you're like, oh, I'm gonna push it, but then you're like, well, actually, I can't push it, but then it's too late. So you have to kind of be aware of that.
and that's probably way more true the higher elo you go. Like, I would probably say at bronze and silver, people barely know how to punish the mistakes that other people make, or at least consistently. So, I mean, if you're like high diamond, it's probably a bigger deal, but
Oh yeah, I've seen it. Fucking up wave balancing or how it's gonna wave balancing is really it is, or wave manipulating waves. You get
I think
screwed.
wave manipulation. I think that's the correct term.
yeah.
Not to split hairs, but
That's
I'll split
all right.
that one.
I've got it also in here. Manipulated waves for advantage. But that one's a little bit harder to discuss. I think that topic there is better for a video than it is for a podcast, because we could be like, kill these 3 minions and then stand here and wait for this and yada yada, or pull the minions this way.
Well, like the very basics of wave manipulations are if you have 4 wet minions, extra minions, you have the option to freeze it, and if it's freeze it on your side or wherever you want. And if it's an even wave, whatever side it's on, it's gonna push away from that. That's kind of like the basics, the super basics.
Yeah. And you can kind of pull minions if you get there in time to one side so that all your minions will aggro on one, it'll push faster.
Yeah.
That's
But it is kind of hard to explain without having, like, well, if the minions are here, it's going to push this fast. If you have, like, this many, you're going to have to thin the wave so it doesn't push into your turret.
Mhm.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah.
Silence. Oh, what the hell? I was typing to somebody in chat saying hello, and it decided that I wasn't logged in. So there we go. Fix that. Back to the podcast.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't know that much about wave manipulation. I pretty much know shove, not shove.
You just play Sona, press one button on my ADC
Hey,
and let's win.
my main is back to
Or
Rakan
Jaina.
now. My main's back to Rakan now. He's my most played again.
No.
I mean, I can
If
sit here and
Jaina's
talk
in
for
your
an
top
hour.
3, you're not a human.
Fuck you.
Apparently, he's not a player because he doesn't play the champions you want him to play. So does that mean he's not going to play the new champion?
Well, oh my god, I'm so excited for Pyke. I know we're not talking about it, but I am super excited.
Yeah, Pyke was the abilities and all that were released today for Pyke. For those out there that may be wary of him becoming a solo laner or jungler, just keep in mind that his passive doesn't allow him to gain any extra life.
And also, he is squishy as balls. If he is a solo laner, he will get one shot constantly.
I'm interested to see. His kit looks super cool. Like, I don't know the numbers behind it, but just looking at his kit, it looks like he could be a jungler. That was my initial thought. But
Yeah, pretty much. If
his
he
numbers are going to
if he
have to be
can
pretty
clear,
terrible, I think.
Yeah, if he can clear, he might be a good jungler.
Nah. I saw a writer say that he can jungle, but he's super unhealthy.
Yeah, it's kind of like Nautilus. Nautilus can clear right now, but it's so slow and terrible.
Well, isn't his passive from enemies damaging him, not just damage from, like, monsters?
What are you talking about?
Because he gets health back.
No,
His
that's
passive.
yeah, that's if, but he has to like go out of vision. So yeah, then he would. He has gray health.
I
guess it
think
was-
the gray health only activate. We're not talking about Pyke, so it's kind of going down a rabbit
Yeah.
hole. But I think he gets health back, a percentage of it from enemy champions that damage you when he leaves vision. So I
Yeah.
don't think he gets it from, like, he wouldn't be able to regen in the jungle.
I think he
he's
would have had to.
Go ahead.
I think he would have had to have been in vision in the first place, though. I'm pretty sure it doesn't trigger if he's not in vision.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's all gray health that he's getting back. I'm actually
Yeah.
going to pull it up because at this point, when Pyke is unseen by enemies, he rapidly regenerates some of the health recently lost to enemy champions.
Okay, yeah, it is
Okay,
champions
okay.
only.
I can read. I just wasn't sure if I was recalling correctly.
Well,
Not
the
gonna
way
lie,
I
I'll
look at
watch
it
the
is,
videos.
yeah, everybody's like, oh my god, he could do this or he could do this, but I don't think Riot ever wants another Lulu fiasco, because Lulu was the last support that was released that ended up being played in every other lane but support for years because they
What are you talking about? Bard.
spilled
Top
over
Bard?
our kits.
Jungle
No,
Bard?
Bard was never,
Bard?
Bard was
No.
trash on release though. That was like Bard was trash for like
Bard was played everywhere and is played everywhere.
no.
Lulu was a top laner when she was released, and then a mid laner, and then a freaking jungler.
Well, she was a support. She was released as a support. She was going to be the first new support in a really long time. Everyone was super excited. And then she came out, and people were kind of underwhelmed by her supportness during that meta, and they realized, oh wait, she's actually really fucking good out of every other lane but support.
Yeah, she did a lot of damage, and so you just went top lane and just bullied people. Great.
And her R has a great ratio, so buying items actually helps. And this was also before supports actually made any kind of gold. So
yeah, those were the days. Philostone only days.
Heart of Gold Philostone. Let me get I need my harmonica so I can sit here and God, I love those days.
I don't even remember those items. So
what was the other? Execute the old Avarice Blade.
Blade.
What was the blue one?
Kage's Lucky Pick. H's Lucky Pick. Yeah.
You get all 4 of those as Gangplank, and then you just last hit minions with Q and become Bankplank. And at like 20 minutes, you're sitting on like 3 items.
And as support, you went Mobies, like 10 green wards, 4 or 5 pink wards, and a Philostone. That's literally all you build. Like 60 minutes into the game, you might have Shirelias.
Right.
Y'all are talking about a time I do not remember. So
yeah, this is well before your time. There was a time where supports had no extra income and they didn't get free wards, and so all your money went into buying wards. Literally, like the pro games devolved into having 10 wards down at once from a support.
Yeah, there was no ward cap. And so the support was in charge of buying the wards and the oracles, but the jungler would also get an oracles. And oracles would last until you died. So you would just play super passive, never die, clear wards. And the pro games got so bad that people would literally clap when wards were cleared because nothing else would happen.
Yikes. That doesn't sound great.
No.
I can remember CLGEU. I think the first ward died at like 25 minutes in one of their games, and people went nuts. Oh my god, something good!
Yes. Yes. The classic CLG Taipei Assassins game where it was like 70 minutes long and there was like 12 deaths combined.
Not like this game at MSI last weekend. Oh, it was terrible. It was so awful. Boring.
Everybody would pick a Nivea Karthus and like a scaling 80 carry, just wouldn't fight ever. Oh my god.
Junglers wouldn't gank because the jungle was a lot harder to do then as well, so everyone would just sit and farm. And jungle was a lot harder to do.
There was no jungle item. You had to start cloth 4, cloth 5.
See, you missed time. We need to have a whole episode where we tell Vrayla about the old times. How about 10 potion Katarina top?
Or the old
sounds terrible.
Red pot ribbon start where you just try to snowball. God.
And the time that everybody used to start boots, no one ever started.
I feel like I've been playing for a while, and yet I don't remember any of this stuff.
That's because this is all season 2, season 3.
Yeah, this is like 2010, 2011 ish.
I think I started the start of season 5, so
that would be why.
Yeah, it'd be why. I started the end of season 1.
Yeah, I started like the middle of season 1.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, you also missed the time where there was a new champion every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I have heard. I've heard tales about that.
And they would all come out either extremely broken strong or broken buggy. Like they were either just 1v5 Xin Zhao or Syndra who couldn't even cast her abilities on her balls like she was supposed to be able to.
So I could probably tell this story now. When we went to PAX, Cereal Box used to be on the show. Met a Riot developer out there, and he was a very flamboyant fella, so listening to his stories was a lot of fun. And he would talk about how broken Syndra was, and probably still is at this point, where there was a bug to the point where she could one-shot people by just throwing a ball on top of them by doing a certain number of events to get to that point, like using walls and shit. And he said their rap sheet for Syndra was like 100 bugs long, and this was back in like 2016.
I know,
15.
like...
That's a lot of bugs.
I know, like, new Mordekaiser's like that, but also old Yorick was full of bugs. I remember there was one when he first came out where if you ulted someone and they died as you ulted them, they would infinitely die and respawn, but it would give the gold to the person that killed them.
Yeah.
So they would go to, like, infinite gold. It was crazy.
Man, this game has got such a storied past.
Going over my head, guys. Sad. I wish I was there for this. This sounds like an interesting world of League of Legends y'all grew up in.
I remember. See, we always talk about bot lane. Earlier in this podcast, we talk about bot lane and talking about it potentially coming into kill lanes and stuff. That's because I have a lot of fond memories of kill lanes because previously, we were talking about how the game was stalled out and whatnot, and people were trying to innovate, and we didn't have patches nearly as often as we do now. Do you remember when? I'll give you a better example. Do you remember when Ziggs started becoming a bot laner because we had a month and a half of no patches, so people were started innovating? That's what leaves us a lot to pine for it, because back in the day, it used to be Soraka Graves, Soraka Ezreal, Soraka Corki, essentially, and so it was a really boring lane where she just healed you the entire time and never ran out of mana. So suddenly, a picture of the Goose, a pro team at the time, came in the scene, and they decided to run a Jarvan Leona kill lane to break up the monotony of bot lane.
Yeah, I remember they did that, and then what was the team that Double Lift played on? It was like Rock Hard or something.
God, yeah,
and
that was.
They went Blitzcrank Garen bot lane, and Double Lift played Blitzcrank. He was a Blitzcrank main.
Yeah, I used to do Blitzcrank Shaco. Just put a bunch in the bush and pull them into the bush.
Oh.
And that was actually...
I like that idea. I might have to try that. I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I like that idea a lot, actually.
Yeah, we used to do that a lot. Go down there, put a ton of them in there, just pull them in as they walk the lane.
It's real funny, but it becomes real useless if you don't hit a hook. Like, real useless.
I feel like you both just go the support item, and then...
I don't think
I want to try
as
that.
well.
I want to play Blitz, though.
Oh. The other fun lane was Talon Lee Sin. That was back when Talon did more damage to crippled people, and Lee Sin would cripples you through his E. So Talon would do more damage, and he wouldn't have to get an extra ability on him.
I wish they would add more interactions like that, where some champions have ways of, like, their kits can work better with certain other. I mean, they have ones like that, but like numbers wise, like cripple, like you want to build a cripple comp kind of thing. Or the common one is like you want to build a poison comp. Something like that.
Cassiopeia's E procs off the Teemo poison. Doesn't proc off Switch Venom.
I don't think it does anymore. I thought they changed that.
Well, it used to. It used to.
Yeah, now you're talking Dom's language. If he's on here, he'd go nuts because he loves that type of shit.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. I think that's would add another layer to champion select.
That crazy layer. But hey, let's talk about one more piece of League of Legends. We've just spent 5-10 minutes talking about the past. I want to talk about breaking bad habits because I think a lot of players out there go into autopilot mode. Vrail was talking about it earlier, getting cheesed out by autopilot mode. But I want to know, what do you guys think about how do we shut that off? We're playing a game, we're playing autopilot. We just think the lane should be going the same way every single game, but it doesn't. So we're playing the lane as if it does.
Okay, when I think you're going in autopilot, I think one problem is you might be playing too much. So playing less might be a better idea. So you have less games to be like. So say you're playing 10 games. Obviously, by the time you get to the 9th or 10th one, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I doing here?
10 games? Jesus Christ! You started.
I'm going to the extremes to get my point across. But if you're playing less games, then you're gonna take each game. At least in my mind, you'll take each game more seriously, and you're less likely to fall into some kind of autopilot. So that'd be my number one. But if you're just constantly, you just need to like make a checklist, like pay attention to what you're doing. It kind of comes down to each person, because if you're just kind of careless in the way that you're playing, then that's something you need to change, like overall. It's not something you just like switch off and switch on.
I think an easy way to do it is to talk yourself through the game. If you find yourself having trouble improving, or you don't know what to do to improve, I think just talking yourself through the game as if you were a streamer is a good way to do it. Because if you can't justify your own actions, then you probably shouldn't be taking those actions. And so if you can say, well, I'm walking back to lane now because this is happening, and if you kind of get stuck saying something, that's when you go, well, maybe I should rethink this point of what I'm doing. It'd be really good to go back to the conversation we had earlier about roaming, because maybe now you can justify why you're roaming at this point, or what you plan to do while you're roaming, in an attempt to make yourself more cognizant of the times that you should be roaming.
Or why you're not roaming. Because you have to explain yourself to your teammates a lot when that happens.
Yes, when my mid laner doesn't roam and theirs does, I get a little upset. So if you have a good reason, that's one thing, though.
My reason for not roaming is because I'm bad.
Hey, that's a
I
good
say
reason.
that. I swear, I say the same thing. I did it roam. I shoved him in a tower. I got damage on the turret. I pinged that they were missing. It's your fault that you died.
Yeah.
I don't say it. I say it in a more, a less confrontational kind of way, but that's the general message I give my side lanes when they complain.
I have noticed a difference in the quality of my games. I don't talk myself through it all the time, but if I automatically ping the enemy missing the moment they walk in a lane, hell, they could walk out for 2 seconds just to go hide in a bush, and I ping missing. I have noticed an increase in quality on my games because more people pay attention to mid lane at least, or any other lane where people aren't there. Because there's too many times where I see the pings too late because someone's not paying attention. They're busy in shop or whatever it is. If I go back, I ping missing mid lane a whole bunch, even if the guy's standing there. Because I'm trying to tell him I'm not there, person's not there. And it's just, I've definitely seen an increase in quality in my game since I've started doing that.
Yeah, giving your teammates more information about what's happening in your lane is always going to help them make better and more educated decisions on how to go forward with their own game plan. So I definitely can see how pinging, I mean, I'm a big ping, I like to ping constantly, so just giving your teammates more information is always going to be helpful, even if they think it's annoying. At least they know what you're talking about.
Bears, you're pinging, right?
No, he's not. He's pressing one button on his ADC with Janna.
My main right now is Rakan, is all I'll say. But I don't ping very well because in my mind everybody's looking at the map.
Wrong.
It's 100% wrong. Like, so this goes back to what I do to try to get an autopilot. Because like if I'm tired or I really don't want to play the game, sometimes I just kind of like walk around doing nothing. But I remember a long time ago, back when I was like bronze, like season 3, I saw someone said, I think it was Faker maybe, said, if you want to get better, every time you click the mouse, look at your mini map. So like you go to last hit, you look at your mini map. You go to pressure the other lane, then you look at the mini map. You go to ward, you look at the mini map. So like that's how I keep myself to at least know what's going on, to like know what I need to be doing. Like just always look at the mini map. Like you might see your jungler's invading and you need to take a step forward, or your jungler's getting invaded, you need to go help, or mid lane's getting camped and I should be pressuring towards mid lane. Like just look at your mini map constantly. Always look at your mini map. It's so helpful.
You can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to do.
And then we don't need pings because you know where everybody is at all times.
But, however, you should assume that no one's looking at the minimap and you should be constantly because...
Yeah. Also, don't assume your teammates know what should happen because, like, if their bot lane takes bot turret early and you know they're going to rotate top, you got to tell people because they won't realize, they don't pay attention that bot turret just went down and then they overextend and their bot lane's there and they kill them. Like, bot lane's up here. Well, yeah, we knew they were going up there, but we should have told you still.
You see, Bears, the problem with this is that I have a bad habit of drinking and playing video games. You know, I can make it to pretty high elo drinking and playing video games, but it doesn't mean I'm looking at the minimap because when you drink, it's harder to constantly look at the minimap. So I'm gonna need those pings to tell me where they aren't. I can mechanically play well, but if you expect me to macro play well, you know, to that extent, you're sadly mistaken.
The problem with bot lane and why they always die to 4-man ganks is because the ADC can only focus on farming, and the Janna players can only focus on shielding their
Jesus
ADC,
Christ.
and they can't do anything else.
It's happening.
Hey,
the Janna players can only focus shielding.
Hey, no, it's pretty true. My mechanics are god awful. Like, I'm pretty sure there are bronze players that can beat me in most 1v1s. So it's pretty true. Like when I get 4-man dove, I like freak out a little bit. Kind of sometimes.
Oh, I'm playing Janna and press R and everyone goes away.
I've only played like 8 games of Janna this season. Thank you. It's mostly Rakan and Sona. Oh, actually it's 13 games, whatever. Yeah. Getting 4-man dove though, honestly, as a bot lane is the worst, and junglers and mid laners should have our backs. Like that's what you're there for. We love you. We just want you to be near us.
I just want you to ping more often, Bears. That's what I'm going to work on with you. You're going to ping more often. Eventually, we're going to play this game together. We're going to find time to actually play, and then I'm going to tell you to ping. Just more pinging.
I'll try. I'm not good at it.
I do need to play a flex queue game this evening because I have 1 day left before I decay. So,
hey, the last time we played a game before you were decaying, it did not go so well.
At that time, I was not playing this game. I have now been playing.
I'm just saying it went pretty poorly.
I have been playing at least 3 nights a week now, so playing a lot more. That means I'm not nearly as bad.
That's good. You're not falling into the trap of I can't climb, but you don't play, so...
Well, we already answered all Vision's question about buying elixirs. James writes in, I picked up Sins recently, and I'm hoping to get some advice on proxy farming. At what point in the game should I be proxying the wave? Should I stay in lane if I can bully my opponent? If you're playing against someone who is proxying, what should your strategy be? I think we did this question a bit ago. You know what it was? It was I asked Marine about Sins and proxying.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, and we decided that someone else should answer it. You guys had said that someone knew more about Singed, or at least top lane.
I've asked Marine about it. If you want to know, if you want an idea about proxying wave and when you should do it, a few podcasts ago, I had a conversation with Marine about it. I'd have to go find it, and I'll find your email, James, and I'll write back to you on that one. I just kind of dump him the document. But proxying waves is Singed is. You need to this is where you need to talk yourself through what you're doing and why you're doing it, because you need to have an idea of what you hope to accomplish by proxying the wave. If you are proxying the wave just to proxy, you are doing it incorrectly. You should be doing it to pull pressure toward you, and you should be ready to deal with that pressure. Then that pressure being mid, jungle, and top coming for you at any point in time. Now, granted, if you're proxying, you're probably ahead, or you are slowly getting further ahead than your enemy laner. But you should only be doing it after you have the necessary resources to either get away or fight people that come near you. Like, you shouldn't be starting the game out at level 1 proxying.
I feel like the only way you can do level 1, and if you're going to proxy super efficiently, you need to have Ghost. Because that's how you just run away from everyone. That's how you... Because if you just have Flash, they can flash after you. So Ghost, I feel like, is super important on Singed. Are we even talking about Singe or just proxy in general? Anyway, I feel like Ghost is super important when you're trying to proxy Singe, because what you can end up doing is you can just run through their base and just run away from them. So it doesn't matter where the towers are or whatever. You just run the complete opposite way away from them, and then that's how you get away when you're in sticky situations. But you do have to have a goal of what you're trying to accomplish when proxying. So, I mean, I'm not very good at proxying. I die a lot when I play Singe, so... Yeah,
my goal early game as Singed is to stay in lane, is to flip them. My level 2 power spike as Singed is actually really powerful, because you can throw them into the minions and help get extra damage. Your Q does quite a bit by turning it on and off as they walk through the poison trail. But after I've forced my enemy to go back, and I am now either able to start proxying because I have the items. Usually you'll start proxying after you've gone back and picked up your first item that helps you, continue to snowball. I'm not sure if I actually don't know the build pass on Singed anymore since they've changed so much shit. But if it's like tier, I don't even know if he gets fucking Rod at this point. Honestly,
I think it's Shirelia's first.
Yeah,
and you know what?
Go AP or you can go tank.
I think it's Righteous Shirelia's.
There you go. Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. It probably is. But yeah, you're picking up your first components for your items so that you have some extra stats on you, and that you have the little extra damage to be able to kill the wave efficiently. But you're proxying with the idea that you want to eventually work into their base, because you can actually proxy 2 waves at once as Singed, because you can proxy the top and mid wave, so that
don't do that. Don't do that.
We're talking at this point, we're talking 15-20 minutes in the game, and you have a lead, but really you're just proxying to keep somebody at the tower. You're doing it to create pressure to allow your jungler now to play off of what you are doing. You're not actually doing it by proxying. You are potentially taking the tower more quickly because your minions are putting damage into the tower, but you're just trying to free up for your team.
Also, I know a lot of Singed, like, once you get ahead and you proxy, you don't just, like, walk back into the lane. Like, you clear the wave really fast, then you go into their jungle, see if you can mess with the jungler. If not, you go mid. Like, you don't just sit top lane. You proxy it, then roam, because now he has to farm at turret. You're free to move around the map.
Right. Red wards, vision wards, get them all.
Yeah.
You don't want to proxy. You don't want to proxy into a dark map. That's going to result in you dying a lot.
Yeah, that's when you get those 011 Singed that still have like 700 farm.
That's me when I play Singed.
Except without the 700 farm.
All right. Well, let's take that 700 farm into another game as I'm going to end this podcast now. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Episode 535 of the Trinity Force podcast, slowly walking in on 550 and eventually 600. We're going to go until we're either crippled dead or everybody leaves me, and then I'm just going to solo podcast. Though I think Beaver is in it for the long haul, so I think I at least have a couple people, and Frail seems to enjoy it as well. So at least I got you guys, right? The verdict's still out in Bears.
You got me for a while.
The verdict's still out in Bears. He's still fresh. He's fresh meat. I can mold him any way that I want. So either I can run him away early or
he hasn't played with you yet. He hasn't really tested the waters quite once.
Well, we'll try to play some tonight as well. So guys, thank you so much for listening. Episode 535 of the Trinity Force podcast is in the books. We will see you all on Wednesday with 36. Peace.
Later, dogs.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to our product and being a member of the Trinity Force Network community. If you have a moment, please head over to iTunes and give your favorite show a comment and a rating. If you're so inclined, you can check out all of the other great shows in the network. We've got a wide variety of content from League of Legends to general gaming and role-playing podcasts. If you'd like to follow us on social media, we can be found at Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit under T-Force Network. We've also got a Patreon under that name where you can support your favorite shows with a small donation each month. Thanks again for listening, and we hope you continue to enjoy all of our podcasts, videos, and the community that we've provided.